Fairfield, warning, warning, warning. We have quite the crew today here on Fairfield 2.0. Thank you for joining us. Where do we start? Frank Hanna at the end over there. We have Jonnie Cohen over here. And we have Mr. Nick Naoti. Last time we saw Nick, we were talking to him about Space Demon. But this time, we have some other thing we're going to talk to him about. And it's that food sitting in front of me is very dangerous. We better get right into what this is all about.
Yeah.
Nick, you have a restaurant that's opening soon, eh?
Yes. I'm opening a restaurant here in Fairfield called The Gardens. It's going to be a lunch restaurant. It's right on the corner of Burlington and Maine. Doing a lot of local stuff, a lot of it's going to be a seasonal menu, so it's changing every season. I actually brought you some food here, as you noticed.
You did, thank you. Oh no, go ahead, show me.
Yeah. I've got the this is from our spring menu. This is the Spanish quinoa bowl.
Whoa.
And we've got some garden salsa there and some chips.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I was seeing you last time with Space Demon, you didn't even have an inkling. I'm going to put this down. I can't. You didn't even have an inkling of doing a restaurant, right?
Correct.
How did the idea pop up?
Well, I've worked in food service for about 13 years. I love serving people food. I love food. I'm just really excited about food.
You wouldn't know that, right? You don't like food at all. Okay.
No, I tried to stop eating food a while ago.
Good thing.
He's cutting back. Anyway, so like my family has owned restaurants. I've always just kind of known that I was going to at some point, and I was just sort of waiting for the opportunity to arise. I love Fairfield. I just moved here, and it's awesome. I'm really, really excited.
Nice. Where did you move from again? Let's do a little history recap again.
I was born and raised in Branson, Missouri. I've lived in Nashville for like the last 7 years, pretty much.
How could you leave how could you leave Nashville?
It's not for me.
All right, back in. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then I moved to Denver for a couple months, and then came to Fairfield after that.
What got you here?
Just the art scene, the culture. There's just like for such a small town, there's a really rich culture.
Nice.
And I love that.
Now you bonded with the crew from, well, I guess they're somewhere in the middle now. It's between St. Mary's and the Beauty Shop, and now the Beauty Shop kind of does or doesn't exist anymore.
The Beauty Shop still exists. In fact, we're throwing a show next Friday, which is March 29th.
Okay.
Which I'm really excited about. I'm going to be playing. Jason Burkhart's playing.
Cool.
We're doing a special, unique set. We've got some friends from Des Moines, the River Monks, coming. Some friends from Columbia, Missouri, called Dub Nub. They're three sisters. And then we've also got local heroine, Cassie Forward, playing. Nice. Also.
Are you overseeing what's going on in the Beauty Shop now too? Like what is your jurisdiction over this whole piece of property?
The Beauty Shop is separate from the Gardens. It's a different entity, but I am involved with setting up shows there and promoting shows there. So basically, I'm renting the front space for my restaurant. It's a separate entity entirely from the Beauty Shop, but it's still existing. It's going to be exactly the same as it always was, maybe even a little bigger, and it's just like just evolving with the scene.
Okay, it's going to be basically the back room again, right?
Yeah.
How does the back room then, spill into the restaurant?
Well, I'm going to open up during shows. When there are shows at the Beauty Shop, I'm going to be open, serving a limited menu, probably like just some tapas and some beverages.
Nice.
And
nice.
And I'll also be open for art walks and
cool and
stuff like that. Otherwise, I'll just be a lunch restaurant, but it's going to be open during shows, so like the whole space will be open.
Cool. You said seasonal foods. Oh God. Are you going to what season are we in now as far as the seasonal foods?
Spring.
Okay.
Yeah, like I have a spring menu pretty much set. Come 3 months from now, I'm going to change my menu pretty much entirely to summer, and it'll be based on what's in season here in Iowa. Just different recipes we've tried that we like. All the employees are going to team up to make the menus every time.
Are you gonna? Is there a place that when one can go to look up like menus and all sorts of information?
I have a Facebook page for the gardens. It's just called the Garden Seasonal Kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll be posting like the menu and pictures and coupons and whatever on there.
Okay, cool. So keep an eye out on Facebook, in other words. Johnny, what do you think of all this?
Great.
Cool. Frank,
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
The spring equinox is until 21st of March, right?
Yes.
So when is the seasons change in terms of your seasonal menus?
I think I'm gonna. I don't know. I haven't exactly worked that out yet. I originally had March 21st as my opening date.
Okay.
But I had to push that back. I'm opening April 2nd now, and probably just change like around the official change of the season, like whenever it feels right, you know.
Yeah.
Well, we're asking questions. Are you guys also serving fresh vegetable juices? Like, will you have a juicer?
I am gonna have a juicer.
Good.
I will have. It won't be like a juice bar per se.
Okay.
Because there's a juice bar opening up across the intersection.
Really? Okay.
At Infinite Ohm.
Huh. Okay.
But I'm gonna have a juice of the day kind of thing going on.
Right on.
Yeah. So like it'll be like a fixed juice every day that will be fresh. It'll be made fresh to order, but it's not gonna be like pick and choose kind of situation.
Cool.
all right, now as far as you mentioned Jason before, Jason Burkhart,
Mm-hmm.
two of you have been dabbling with music lately, right?
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. We just went on tour. We're planning a music and culture festival here in Fairfield.
When is that?
It's going to be May 18th. It's called the 3rd Street Music and Culture Fest.
Nice.
And it's going to be so much fun. There's going to be 2 stages. We're changing the St. Mary's building into a full art gallery.
Oh, wow.
With all local art. It's going to be like 10.5 hours of music. And there will be food there. It's just going to be a big like block party.
Fairfield stock.
Yeah, we got permission from the city to block off the street for the day, so like it's gonna be really fun.
Did you invite Johnny to play?
Yeah, Jason talked to me.
Really? Are you confirmed? Are you on it?
I am not confirmed, but you know, me and Jason have a good relationship,
Cool.
and now with you.
Yeah. Let's get it going.
Johnny, what are you up to? You're just fresh back from New York. Well, kind of, a couple of months ago.
Yeah, I'm on spring break right now from the University of Iowa studying jazz guitar. So right now I'm living in Fairfield for a week, just chilling and working and trying to put my personal mission into everything I do.
Nice. What is your personal mission?
It's a little like, it's more about what kind of energy I want to put into the things I want to do than necessarily like a statement.
Yeah.
You know, I really love music, but I also have a personal study of what makes people successful and what makes people like do really great things with the world. And, you know, I feel like you can be successful and have any kind of career or job path, whatever you want, and you can make a difference if you're passionate about life in general.
Now, I want to point out a few things how you're passionate about life. Things like you're mentoring. You have a couple of, I guess, kids that you're overseeing. I don't know how you would phrase that you're mentoring, in association with, certain organizations, right?
Yeah, I mean, income is hard for me right now because I'm in school and stuff. I teach some lessons, but I also volunteer a lot. I teach a lot of free lessons, and I work with kids through the Big Brother, Big Sister program,
Right,
and
that's what it's called.
just personal relationships. I'm trying to develop an awareness of myself so I can see who I am and create a success monger.
Nice. Do you pass this on? Are you encouraging to the kids you work with?
You tell me, Mike.
Yeah, well, I know one in particular. I think you certainly are.
I think lessons, whatever kind of lessons, with me, it's music lessons. If you can inspire someone about themselves, about their, everything you say is an indicator for a thought process.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you are and whatever they see in you, they kind of reflect that in themselves a little bit. So I think inspirational, guidance is more of what I do through my music lessons.
Nice.
And, music is my focus and my passion, but I don't know if it's the entirety of what I can give to the world.
Nice. I love the way you put that because, what you don't hear about is balance. A lot of times people want to make it whatever that is anymore.
Yeah.
And they don't realize that they have a life that they're also having to live, that's a part of, but it's
Right.
one part of a life.
It's
a lesson I learned too late, and I have to confess. But it's nice that you're like aware of that now, and it was a natural progression for you to come to that decision.
Yeah, I believe in overt balance is what I call it. Like, I think when balance has this kind of connotation where it's like very like, yes, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But in my opinion, I think it's blow it all out, but in all directions, explode out. And be the best you can be while being centered, and don't find your identity through anything, but put your identity into everything.
Nice. Now you allow people to pay you for lessons too, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So if somebody wanted to contact you for guitar lessons or even music lessons, right?
Yeah.
How would they contact you?
Through my secretary, Mike Ragogna.
Wait a minute here. I want to raise.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it feels better to give a lesson for free. So if there's an arrangement where I get paid for a lesson and I'm actually like learning a lot from it, which I try to do every lesson because I feel like it should be a mutual flow of knowledge and an approach to an unknown area together as more of a guidance or something. But, sometimes I say I don't even want to charge, But that doesn't mean I won't charge ever.
Please, gotta charge once in a while. So if somebody wanted to contact you, what's your website or
6'4"? You can access me through Facebook, facebook.com/Jonnie M. Cohen.
Okay,
That's JONNIEM as in mother, Cohen as in my last name.
You also have a musician's page, right?
That's my musician's page.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool.
My personal page is, I don't even know the URL for that, but you can search my name on the Facebook.
So one can not only get lessons from you, but they can become a close personal friend of yours because they're friends with you on Facebook.
I love friendship.
Right, great. The Facebook thing is pretty funny because now I have to confess it. It's like when you're on there a lot, you can get burnt out by it too.
Yeah.
And then when you find yourself going on there 6, 7, 8 times a day, because now people are sending you messages through there as opposed to sending you emails or texts.
Right.
And so now you have to check your Facebook account.
Well, no one's gonna do it for you. No one's gonna like all those photos on their own.
That's right. That's right. And there are so many supper pictures and dog pictures, as in Teddy. We have to glamorize Teddy somehow.
Yeah.
And I kind of like everything. I kind of just go through, my Facebook strategy is when I get on the computer, I just go through and like everything. Because I really do like everything.
You should apply that to your life, yeah.
Yeah.
Fall in love with the world.
Yeah. And I love clicking on stuff too. It just feels good,
Yeah, I like my fingers.
Yeah.
And what do the stars have to say about this?
Oh, it's a great time for liking to click on things. Anything in the essential range, actually. The planet that rules touch is Venus. Mm-hmm. And Venus is considered exalted right now because it's in Pisces. And it's not only exalted, but it's conjunct the Sun, Mercury, and Mars. Mm-hmm. So it's affecting our intellect, our physical muscle experience, and even our sense of self. But another good thing is Jupiter, which is like Zeus. He's like the god of the planets. He's in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. Mm-hmm. So when you have these two planets, one in the house of Venus, and Venus being really well placed, it basically creates an incredible environment for appreciation through the senses. And that would translate into enjoying through clicking. Food, actually, which is wonderful. And even, presentation, media even. So the astrology right now is pretty ideal for what we're doing right now.
You mean like on this show right now?
Right. Yeah, exactly right now.
Perfect.
This is perfect. Yeah.
What do you think? I don't know how anything represents anything. Is there a crash? I really don't. So Lions and Taurus, I'm like, oh, cool. But can you give us a crash course?
I would love to. Let's pretend that you were visiting somebody's house, and that person had just gotten in a lot of legal problems, and they had to sell all their stuff. You wouldn't really want to be in that person's house because everything would be breaking down and falling apart. But what if you were in your friend's house and he had just won the lottery? You wake up one morning and there's a Lexus outside your house. So that's the analogy I would give for planets in different houses. Like when a planet is in its own house, then it gives all these blessings, all these benefits, depending on what that planet is. When a planet is in a house that it's not comfortable in, there's no Lexus outside, people are getting in trouble, there's something going on, you don't want to be in that house, or you don't want that house to be. But what I've learned is that all these different placements have gifts of their own. So I really enjoyed learning from my own experience how the planets translate as they change through the signs. Yeah. And that's kind of how my passion developed in astrology.
And you've got the moon in that mix. You've got constellations. You've got planets. Any other things we have to worry about?
You don't have to worry about anything. No.
Oh, okay.
Even the worst planets are here to teach us valuable lessons. In fact, it's funny. I was talking to Jonnie earlier, and he told me his favorite planet was Saturn. But that's the planet that most people would regard as the hardest planet. He's kind of like a taskmaster. He has a stick, and he's kind of an old figure, and he just likes to set people straight. But he's also the planet that's most sober and realistic and knows how to expand the boundaries of life in the most powerful and effective ways.
Cool.
So he's got his own blessings, even though he doesn't treat you as beautifully as Venus, a beautiful woman that has lessons to teach you. Who wouldn't want that? I mean, between us at least. But, Saturn's not the prettiest teacher, but he has great blessings to give too.
And rings.
And rings? Yeah, he's got rings
moons.
too.
Titan.
And he's got moons. Yeah. So all the planets, you shouldn't be afraid of the planets at all. In fact, they're like the weather, some people don't like it when it snows, some people do. But either way, I think it's a beautiful thing.
Nice. Oh, God. And it is a beautiful thing. Do you have any advice as far as, how about a website where people might be able to visit you?
Yeah, I understand that most people don't know that much about astrology, and I'm creating a website that's kind of supposed to be like a playground. Once you have your chart, you can do your own research, and I want to provide the best quality information so that you can do your own Jyotish readings, because I like people to be empowered by their charts. I find that this is a very valuable tool for knowing how to express your potential in the most effective way. And so this website is still in the works. You'll have to forgive me, but I'll mention it just for the sake of my email being on there. It's jyotishlife.com. And you can reach me through the website even if you wanted to. But it's still in the works, so I'm sorry it's not completely filled in yet, but I'm working on it.
All right. Now, what I was going to ask this other question, and then I cut myself off, as I always do. But what is your advice for people who want to get into astrology? They do have a choice: Western versus Jyotish, and other types of astrology too, right?
Yeah.
But for Jyotish in particular, what is your advice to people who want to learn that?
When you were born on Earth, obviously, and the planets were all some position away from you. And so if you wanted to learn astrology, really, just go back in time to when you were born and find out where the planets were. The difference between Western and Jyotish, though, is that Western astrology, the planets are calculated around the sun. You weren't born on the sun, though. We were born on Earth, so Jyotish is the planets relative to the Earth. So that's the difference. That's the difference.
That's the simple difference. That's almost never verbalized.
It's never. Most Western astrologers will tell you that the Western astrology is more solar-centric. But what they're really saying is, or what they should be saying is that our calculations are off because we didn't take into account the precession of the equinox, which changes the positions of the planets every 26,000 years.
And there you go. There you have it. Is there anything we don't know about Saturn yet that we should know?
Saturn's,
How about Venus?
All the planets have a unique expression and gifts to give. They always surprise me. They're like personalities in the sky. I'm still getting to know them, and I love to introduce them to people and say, hey, this planet is treating you like this, and it's awesome. I haven't seen a chart yet that I haven't been blown away by. I'm just really excited to see people's charts and say, wow, so this is what the planets are doing. Like, is this in your experience? And most people find that to be the case. So,
nice.
Yeah.
All right. I think since there has been food and we've been so restrained,
you gotta eat that, Mike.
I think the first bite should go to probably the most hungry person on the set, which might be Jonnie Cohen. Johnny, try that out. Tell us if we should be going to this garden place. Uh-oh.
Got a good smell.
So is it
on
a dip? This is the dip? This is the
Yeah,
chip?
this is served like just with a spoon. You just eat that.
Do you serve it to the people? Do you feed the people?
Mm-hmm.
Both.
So why don't you just go ahead and feed me?
All right.
Oh, there you go.
I'll feed you.
Just send me some avocado, please.
All right. I ain't above it.
Did you
That
say
was awesome.
choo-choo?
And this is
Choo-choo.
what
Here
happens
comes the
on
train.
Fairfield 2.0. Choo-choo train.
That's the Spanish quinoa bowl there.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna feed. Okay, cool. That's even better.
Here comes Saturn.
A new
Thank you.
That's wonderful. A new tradition here on Fairfield 2.0. Thank you. I want to remind you the garden, okay? The gardens, right?
The gardens.
Plural. Over on, what's the address of the gardens again?
60 and a half West Burlington Avenue, Fairfield, Iowa.
Cool. And the rest is mine. So, Fairfield, hang in there because we have a Skype interview with someone. I'm not quite sure who, but hang in there. It's going to be very exciting. And I want to thank everybody for coming here today. Mr. Frank Hanna, Mr. Jonnie Cohen, who has to come back and bring your guitar next time.
Yeah, I will.
All right. And if we don't get to you before the festival or whatever you're going to be playing next, all the best with that. And thanks for being such a great musical identity, here and contributing the way you do. It's really cool.
You're welcome.
Personally welcome. And Nick, all the best with the new restaurant. And without further ado, I'm going to start eating. All right, bye, Fairfield. Have a great day. Take care. Hang in there for the music. To the moon, Alice, to the moon. Of course, that's a famous line from The Honeymooners by Ralph Cramden to his lovely wife, Alice, and he never really meant it. But we really mean it today when we say that we have got Nick Santino of A Rocket to the Moon here on Fairfield 2.0. And let's say hi to Nick Santino. How you doing, man?
Hey, good. How about you?
I'm doing okay. Thank you very much for the time today.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, so before we get into the new album and what's been happening with you lately, I want to congratulate you on, of course, from it's a way back when congratulations, but like we used to, from your debut album, On Your Side.
Yeah, that was a while ago. Thank you.
Yeah. What was it like when you turned the corner on, when you had a hit? The obvious question is, hey, what did it feel like? But how much did it change? How much did it change everything for you?
I mean, it was interesting because we were a band that just toured all the time off of, the same, 8 songs. And then one summer we just decided to take a song to radio because we saw that it was reacting a little bit more than the rest of them. It was reacting a little better than the rest of the record. So we took it to radio, and it did what it did. It was pretty good for us, for a band of our size, to, all of a sudden turn on, a radio station and hear our song. It was kind of cool. So, hopefully we get to do that again sometime soon with some of these new songs off the new album. But I think it definitely helped us out. It opened us up to a new crowd of people that, listen to radio and found this. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. But did it change everything? Did it open up certain things for the group? Maybe even did it affect your creativity having had a hit like that?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely kind of opened the door to being more of like a radio band, I guess, and kind of, we got to play a bunch of radio shows that we wouldn't have got to play if we weren't on radio. There was a bunch of Christmas, Jingle Ball shows that we got to play that year, and then, kind of opened up the door to just going back to those stations, this past year and meeting, saying hi to the same people that played our song last time, and you kind of get a new relationships with those people, and it definitely doesn't hurt, to meet all those kind of people, and they're all really nice and very supportive, so. Yeah, it just kind of helps us out all around, and it was definitely a different thing, but different, I think, in a good way.
Yeah, and also, let's not forget, you had a couple of interesting exposures for that song in addition to it being a great radio record, which was on MTV. It not only had rotation on MTV Hits and MTVU, but also was on Teen Mom and Jersey Shore.
Yeah, right?
Did you get a lot of, what were the comments like, because everybody has one opinion or another on how they look at those shows. What were some of the comments that came back when your song aired on them? I
mean, the sales for the song went up pretty good. right after those episodes aired. I think after Jersey Shore, I think we went up like 10,000 sales, like more in 1 week because of the show. So I think we definitely gained a good amount of new fans from it, which was cool. They put them in, I guess, decent scenes for those shows too, like during good breakup scenes for that song. So it kind of worked out pretty well. But I think people liked it. I don't remember really hearing anything like bad from people being like, "Ew, your song is in Jersey Shore." I think I'm happy with it in there. So
do you think it's sometimes that show gets more of a bad rap than it deserves?
Yeah, I mean, I think people forget that TV shows are TV shows for entertainment purposes, and they look too much into it. And I think that's why, like, I think shows like Honey Boo Boo Child and stuff, I think all those kind of shows are funny because I look at them as entertainment, and they're serving their purpose, you know?
Yeah.
And other people look at it like, look at these people's, like, background and their history and who they are. And I'm like, just look at it as a TV show, because that's all it is, you know?
Nice. We are talking with, by the way, anybody just joining us now, we're talking with Nick Santino from A Rocket to the Moon. Why A Rocket to the Moon, Nick?
I don't know. I wish I could have asked myself back then the same question, but I honestly don't know. When I was making music by myself in like '06, it was more like electronic-ish kind of stuff, and I guess I just saw it being very futuristic and different from everything else. And me, I'm kind of like a space nerd, like a NASA geek, and like, I believe in aliens and all that kind of fun stuff. So I think it was just me being weird, and then it ended up sticking. So
Nick, Battlestar Galactica, Blood and Chrome. Unfair that they didn't pick it up as a series?
I honestly have never watched it. I know I might sound like a poser saying I like geeky, like, space stuff, but I honestly never got into Battlestar Galactica. I was like into like E.T. and Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Fire in the Sky and like all those kind of movies and stuff. Not
into Battlestar Galactica. Okay, that's the end of this interview, young man.
I know, right?
All right, let's get a little more serious here. This group started as a side project or something, didn't it, way back when?
Yeah, I mean, I was in high school and I was always playing music. I've been playing in bands since I was in middle school, since I was in 7th grade. And so I was kind of just playing in a band in high school and with some friends of mine, and then it ended up, I was getting kind of bored of it, and so I started writing some songs on my own. When I would come home from practice with that band, I would just come home and write some songs on my laptop, and then I ended up putting those songs up online and Pure Volume in MySpace, and people kind of reacted to it better than they reacted to my band, and that was kind of cool because I was getting like international exposure, and people out there, like in the UK, were all in love with it and stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll see what else I can do. So I threw it up on iTunes, and I think it got out there even more. And then, like a year after I started it, I ended up signing my first and only ever record contract with Fueled by Ramen, which was incredible.
How did that come about?
Honestly, I think Jonnie, at the time, he was our A&R guy, and one of my best friends right now still. He found me, just doing his job, being an A&R guy, just kind of looking around for new music, and he found me. And I was on, like, a DIY tour that I think I was writing in. My guitar player now, Justin, used to be in this band called Brighton, and so we had the same manager at the time, and him and I were just on tour together a lot of the time, and I would just ride in their van. We played in, like, the outskirts of Chicago somewhere, not even near Chicago. I think we were, like, 3 hours away. And Jonnie, the A&R for FBR, was from Chicago, and so he was like, I'm going to come out and see the show. So I remember I was playing, like, acoustic by myself to, like, 30 kids at the show, and Jonnie was there, and I was nervous as hell, and he told me how much he really liked, my music and whatever, and then a couple months later, he must have just told the label about me, and then a few months later, I ended up getting a deal sent over and signed it away, and here I am now.
Nice, and congratulations! And for those just joining us, for those just joining us, we're talking with Nick Santino of A Rocket to the Moon. And I have to ask you, now that you're on your second album, that's got to be kind of energizing, and like what is your routine now? I guess you're getting ready to gearing up to support all the releases, the single releases, etc. from it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while. It's kind of exciting because we've only really put out one full length album. We put out little EPs throughout the years, but we only put out one full-length album, so it's been a while, and almost all of us, like the four of us in the band, kind of forget what it's like to release an album, and we kind of forget what it's like to be on a relevant, record cycle again. So it's really exciting. I can't wait to put it out, get new music out there, and have kids and just everybody really stoked on it, because I know I'm really excited about the music, and the four of us are all really excited about this album. And our plans are just to tour our little asses off all year long if we can. That's what we want to do. And hopefully go international again. It's always fun going to the Philippines and Indonesia and Australia. So hopefully we get to do that whole circuit again. And I think we're just ready to work again. It's been 4 years since we put something like full out. So we're just ready to start working full time again.
Nice. And now the new album is called Wild and Free. Would you say the music on there is wild and free? Well, not free.
I think so. I mean, it's not wild and free as in like Leonard Skinner is wild and free, but I think it's like emotionally wild and free. I think we really let go on this one, and I think that's why that title kind of stuck. There's like subjects that we've never written before, that we put on this album, and I think it's really cool. We've written about, life and love and death and regret and, reassurance and kind of everything. And it was very freeing to write. So I think that's kind of where what wild and free means to us,
Nice. Now, you have a new single from this record, Ever Enough.
Yeah.
Can you go into that a little bit? Like, the storyline behind it, all that?
Yeah, that song, Ever Enough, is a really cool song. There's this band called Green River Ordinance, and their lead singer, Josh Jenkins, is a friend of ours. And one day, Justin and I were in Nashville, and we met Josh, and we got invited over to his place. So the two of us went over to Josh's house, and we ended up just kind of, picking up an acoustic and playing around and stuff. And he showed us this little idea he had, and we kind of expanded off of that, and then it ended up turning out to be Ever Enough. And it's a song that we wrote that's kind of just about reassurance. Like I said, it's a song about just reassuring the person that you are with and that you're currently situated with that, you're going to love that person until the day that you die, through sickness and health and through everything, through all the ups and the downs and trials and tribulations. You're gonna be with that person, and it's kind of just telling them, like, no matter what happens, I'm going to be by your side,
Nice.
And I think that was kind of a cool, deep meaning to kind of crack into, because I think a lot of people can relate to it.
Yeah, nice. Now, the video to this has Debbie Ryan, Disney actress.
Yeah.
How'd you score that? How'd that all come about?
Debbie is actually, she's one of my best friends. She's been one of my closest friends for the past, 3.5, 4 years. And she's honestly, her and I, have, conversations all the time on the phone about, what's going on in each other's lives. And we're seriously just really close friends. And I think it just kind of came about, she was in New York City one day, and I was like, hey, you should go by the Field Ramen office and hang out with some of the people. And she ended up doing that. She had a couple minutes to spare, so she went by the office, and they were like, you should be in this Ever Enough video, kind of joking around. And Debbie was like, yeah, totally. I'll definitely do it,
Yeah.
So she ended up getting on board and joining the video, and I think it came out really great. And it was fun to do because her and I, like I said, are such close friends that it was, very comfortable to run around and laugh with her, in Vegas and do all that stuff.
Nice.
It was a really cool video.
Yeah, it was. Now, I want to. I also want to ask you, Josh Jenkins. You were talking about him earlier from Green River Ordinance, but you had some other. You had some other guests on this project. You had Stephen Barker from Love and Theft.
Yeah, Stephen Barker from Love and Theft helped us write. We wrote a song with him on the album as well.
Nice. And then Elizabeth Hewitt. Of course.
Yeah, Elizabeth Hewitt used to sing backup for Taylor Swift, and she came and sang on a couple songs for us. She sang on the title track, Wild and Free, and then she sings on the song that we wrote with Stephen.
Nice. Now, I also want to ask you about Mark Bright, your collaboration with producer Mark Bright. Man. Well, tell me about it. Go into a story.
Yeah. It was one of those situations that people always talk about, when you know kind of thing. And we were looking into producers for a bit when we started writing the album. And we were like, we want to do this thing in Nashville. We don't want to go out to L.A. We did the L.A. thing. We want to do this one in Nashville. For some reason, we were just attached to Nashville. And so we were like, all right, let's look around and find what producer works best and blah, blah, blah. And then we wrote that song with Steven from Love and Theft, and he just sent the demo. It was an iPhone recording. He sent it to his friend. And his friend just so happened to work for Mark, and we honestly never really knew who Mark was at the time. And then next thing we know, we got a call. He called somebody from our label, Jonnie, I think, and was like, I heard this song from this band, and I'm really interested in hearing more and whatever. So Jonnie went down to Nashville, and he interrupted a session that Mark was in, and Mark came out of the session and was like, I know who you are. I love that band. You're up to the moon. I want to do the record. And Jonnie was like, hi, I'm Jonnie Minardi. Like, I haven't even got to meet you yet. That's amazing that you already say that. And then once Jonnie called us and was like, hey, there's this producer named Mark. He's done a bunch of Rascal Flatts records. He's done all of Carrie Underwood's music. And right away, like, us being country fans, we were like, that's awesome, Yeah. And so we looked him up, and we were very, excited about his roster and the stuff that he's done and the way that his recording sounded. And the first Rascal record that he did is one of my favorite Rascal Flatts records. It's one of my favorite albums, I think, of all time, just like the production on it. So it was kind of cool to get a call from him. And then Justin and I ended up going to Nashville during a writing trip, and we went to dinner with Mark, and we ended up talking to him for 4 hours straight. And then right when we left from that dinner, we were like, this is our guy, 100%, this is our guy. And so we kept on it, and then, January of last year, we went into the studio with him. So it was kind of a, like I said, like when you know kind of thing. We didn't even entertain the idea of any other producer. We were just set on Mark.
Nice. And he also did a great job with Reba McEntire. Those records are really sweet, too.
Yeah, he's done a lot of great stuff.
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to let's have just one more question about the album. I believe it starts out with Going Out, right?
Yep.
And Going Out is like one of the I guess more cool party anthems on the album.
Yeah.
And it does set up the album in a very youthful let's go out and live kind of way, which I want to get to this. It's sort of like you are now sort of like, even though you may not be considered a big Nashville act, you're now kind of in the crowd, in that crew of like young Nashville. What is your perception of that?
I mean, I kind of love it, because it kind of shows that you're, I feel like people look at you as a songwriter instead of just a face in a band, and that's how I want to be. I want to be known for making music, and I don't really care what I look like, I just want to make great music, and I think that's kind of cool because people of Nashville, in that whole scene, they all appreciate music for what it is instead of just the gimmicks that come along with it,
Yeah.
And so it's really cool, and we definitely have a good name for our producer to kind of throw around town too, because we can go and meet somebody and be like, yeah, we did our album with Mark Bright, and they know who that is right off the bat, so it's kind of a cool feeling.
Nice. Yeah. It's a really interesting marriage. Fueled for Ramen meeting Nashville in this way. That's really sweet too.
Yeah, but Fueled for Ramen's always been very diverse with their music. They have Paramore, and they also have Gym Class Heroes who sound nothing alike, and then they got Fun.
Yeah,
so it's kind of cool. I think we just added a little bit of that pop folk rock kind of thing to the family.
Yeah, it's excellent. I want to ask you my traditional question, which is, sir, what is your advice for new artists?
For new artists, man, I just say keep going. Like you can't really give up. There's a lot of times where, whether we play a crappy show or like nobody comes, where, I can't help but sit there and be bummed out and be like, man, why am I even doing this anymore? And then I go and open my Twitter and see all these people that are like, this song that you wrote helps me through this time of my life. And I'm like, okay, that's why I do this. You know what I mean? And so I think you just a lot of people just give up before they even get a try or before they even get a shot. And I think you just got to kind of keep pushing through that and making yourself, get better. And you will eventually get somewhere. I think I got a long way to go, but I think, I made the right move by making music originally in the first place, and then luckily getting signed from, an amazing label like this.
Yeah. And what was the best advice that you've ever gotten?
Oh man, I don't know. We just from touring with a bunch of bands, we kind of just learned from them. Like I remember in 2010, I think it was, when we went on tour with Hanson. It was just like they would talk to us and hang out with us every single day. I don't think they, ever gave us like a word of advice, like a father figure or anything, but just hearing their stories that they would tell us and everything about, they started making music when they were like practically babies, and they still do it, and they still love it, and they still make amazing music. So being on a tour with a band like that and seeing that you can, you know, still do it and you can get past like stupid trivial things, you know, I think is very inspiring. And I think, you know, just being on the road, you learn a lot of new stuff, and you know, you get advice maybe that someone doesn't know that they're giving you, but you kind of pick up on it, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's really it's great that you took being with them and also learning, you know, learning from the environment. That's always a big thing too.
Yeah.
I'm imagining that over the last few years since you've had your hit, you know, you've been looking at what's coming down the pike and taking what you need, you know, from all that experience.
Yeah. Yeah, when I go to shows now, I kind of don't even really go to the show in order to, like, enjoy the show. I kind of go for, like, homework in a way. You know, like, we just did this thing called the Rock Boat last week, and it was this cruise that went to the Bahamas, and there was, like, 20 different bands on it, and a lot of them I'd never even heard of, but one of the main bands on it was a band called Need to Breathe. And I remember watching them the 3 nights that they played and just enjoying it like crazy, but sitting there pretty much, like, taking mental notes, like, of their stage presence and like how they interact and like, you know what I mean? Like everything that they would do on stage, I was like, this band is amazing. How can I be more like that? You know?
Yeah.
Or how can I like put my own little twist on something that they do?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'm always kind of just taking notes and taking inspiration from, you know, music and live shows and all that.
Well, we have been talking with Nick Santino from A Rocket to the Moon, new album, sophomore effort, although they've had a lot of EPs also. The new effort called Wild and Free. And Nick, all the best with this. It seems like you're on a pretty good trajectory right now.
Yeah, hopefully things work out.
All right, buddy, all the best, and definitely let's talk again sometime in the future.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
All right. Be good. Take care.
All right. I'll talk to you.
Bye-bye. This song is called Made in America. It's about being young and being in America. Now, it was written in the 80s. It was written for my little group called Mickey and the Mostones, which included Steve Mosto and his sister Joanne, both of whom were incredible musicians. I was very lucky to have made some music with them in the past. Anyway, this song was one of our favorites. A group called Girls Next Door, who also had a hit with one of my songs called Slow Boat to China, recorded this. And let's play it for you now and see what you think. I think some of the lines in this might still be pertinent for kids these days too. But like I said, you decide. Made in America. In the heart of the country, in the heat of the city, we had the best of times, had some scenes not so pretty. We'd always get by, we were made in America. In a '69 Maverick, we broke down in Macon, lived on Winston's and Miller, lived on pancakes and bacon, just out for a drive, we were made in America. Made in America, made in America, we're young and alive, we were made in America. Baby's got no diploma by the fireplace. She thinks she could have been a doctor, now her life's a waste. She still got some time, she was made in America. Darling, we were made in America. Made in America. We're young and alive, we were made in America. Now money talks and people listen. We ain't got a dime to glisten. So many dreams and ways of living got us here today. Now Now I've been mainline Manhattan, I've been shoeshine Chicago, I've been lost in Los Angeles, God knows tomorrow. We're strong, we'll survive, we'll make it in America. Darling, we were made in America. Made in America. We're young and alive, we were made in America. Made in America. Made in America. We're strong, we'll survive. We were made in America.